here's how I start things out. Let's talk about the first 4 or 5 things that you need to do. Number one, stop going after everything, because having a broad shotgun approach, it doesn't work for anyone. It really doesn't. So it's a little counterintuitive, but niche down. And when I say niche down, what I mean is really, really, really drill down and refine your search thoughts into not just what you can do or could do or are equipped to do or are educated to do or even have done. What I want you to think about is, what am I uniquely capable of doing? What am I the best candidate for someone, like what am I best at? What would they hire me for? And really think about, what do you want to invest the next years of your career, your life doing? So many people, when they find themselves in a job search, they're they're unsettled. They didn't want to be in a job search, or maybe it came sooner than they thought, or maybe getting hired again is taking longer than they thought. And so people just begin kind of firing off resumes to anything that even looks remotely possible. And they then realize, this is massively depressing because I'm not getting anywhere. I'm just spinning my wheels and I feel like I'm sinking into quicksand, and I'm starting to get scared. Not always because of the financial components of being, without a job, but it's because top performers, you know what I've noticed? They loathe being on the sidelines. They loathe being benched and sitting around and waiting for the phone to ring. They hate not getting up and doing what they feel that they were born to do, which is to solve problems, make an impact, mentor people, fix, broken processes. They love being in the heat of the battle, and they hate waiting in limbo. So it's that feeling that I've found over and over again is what's stressful for folks. It's not that they think they'll never get hired. They're just sick and tired of doing a process of going about getting their next job that is broken, that's fundamentally broken. Okay, so what I want to teach you is how to do it in a very smart way. Step one, niche down. Don't go with a scatter pattern. Go with like a sniper rifle, not a shotgun. Okay, so that's step one. Be very, very specific and very thought heavy into what you want to do, and then you're going to have much better results. Number two, tailor your resume so that when you send it to the person who is the recipient, it is obvious immediately with a glance, not a long in-depth read, that your skills, experience, and education are a fantastic bullseye match for the role that they're looking for. Again, do not send out canned resumes. It just is a waste of your time, and it's depressing because you don't get any response back. It just doesn't go well. Trust me when I tell you, don't do it. If it's worth your time in sending a resume to this organization, it's worth it to tailor it so that the reader can very quickly grasp, holy cow, you've got the skills we're looking for. And kind of remember that the initial reader is probably someone who's maybe younger in their career. And I don't mean younger, I mean like at the front end of their career. And what that means is maybe they don't have the depth of knowledge to be able to distill all this information you have in your resume to connect the dots on how you'd be a fit. So make it very obvious. Make it very immediately recognizable in the first third of your resume. We talk about that on the resume video. So if you haven't watched that one, it's worth a quick listen. The third thing is, whether you like it or not, whatever your opinion is on it or not, LinkedIn is by far, without question, unarguably the most valuable resource you will have in your job search. It is unmeasurably powerful. I get frustrated with it sometimes, but I can't deny the fact that it is 1,000,000% a tool that if you're in the situation of a job search, you need to understand not just how to use it, but how to optimize it. You kind of need to be a super user. And I know that that's the last thing you want to do, because it stinks to have to go and learn something like that if you're not, if you're not accustomed to it. Most of the professionals I work with are at a very high point in their career, and LinkedIn is something that they it's an ancillary thing. Yes, they have an account, but they don't really use it because they're so busy moving and shaking and doing amazing things and getting results for their global organization that a tool like LinkedIn is just, well, it's just not that important to them until you need it to be able to optimize your network, to be able to open doors for you. I can't emphasize it enough. You need to learn how to use it. I'll make an entirely separate video on the keys on that, but just you heard it here first. This is not a tool that you need to be okay with. This is a tool that you need to understand inside and out because it is how you will be found. Now think about this. Most job seekers are frustrated to the point that they are losing their mind over the annoying parts of sending out resumes to applicant tracking systems and getting absolutely nowhere week after week. But what's the difference of sending out resumes? It's being called by people who are seeking you. And how do you do that? You do that via LinkedIn. You become visible when previously you were invisible. So you heard me loud and clear on that. For more details, stay tuned. I can give you a lot more information, but just for now, underline that 3 times. You need to use LinkedIn as a power user. Now, the fourth thing that I had for you is you will be found and you will get calls. You'll get calls from interview, well, let's just say HR professionals who are there to do the pre-screen. Now, bear in mind that that person may not have years and years of experience in your specific uh, area of expertise. So you're going to need to be able to communicate what you do and the value you bring. Again, I'm going to say that again, the value you bring in a way that is very bite-sized and easily absorbed by someone who may not have a really deep dive knowledge of your expertise. So think about in advance. What I say often is anticipate what you will be asked and prepare your remarks so that they are short and memorable. I always tell the folks that I'm working with in a coaching scenario, pretend like it costs you $45 per word for every word in your response. And when you have that mindset, you will be viciously, editing out all the fluff and the filler in your comments. You need to make sure that you get their attention, you hold their attention, and that you are memorable enough and persuasive enough and convincing enough that they send your resume forward. And you can't do that no matter how smart you are, no matter how great you are at what you do. You can't do that on the fly. You can't do that by winging it. You have to anticipate and prepare. So do that. Anticipate and prepare your remarks for the questions that you logically would be asked. The last thing that I wanted to share in the concept of job search is just from a lifetime of helping brilliant professionals, people who are just so accomplished and so amazing. What I would tell you is limit the time of day that you do this, not the time of day, the time in the day that you do this to about 4 hours, because otherwise you will really burn out and you won't be very effective at it, and it'll make you miserable and you will be a very depressed person because there's nothing that's fast about this. So instead of spending all day thinking you're working it like a job, spend 4 hours of uber concentrated, absolutely intentional, completely dialed in time doing the actions that we teach here at Rauch, and then walk away. Go walk your dog, go outside and get some fresh air, but don't spend your whole time while you're unemployed or in this job search mode glued to your computer, because it's actually counterproductive. It's not that let me just tell you, I've learned over time it doesn't work well. You're better off spending 4 hours of concentrated, really, really effective time than 8 hours of rabbit holes, reading odd, opinions on your resume online that are conflicting. Like, you just don't have 8 hours that you need to be spending on this. Less is more in this particular part of life. So we have so much more that I could share with you, but I want to keep this video really short and just to kind of give you a little bit of insight as to how our approach is different. And hopefully you'll stay tuned for more. Talk to you soon.